So, as usual, I begin with a story. And today I want to introduce you to Harold Moskowitz. Harold Moskowitz is a food scientist. And in the 1980s, Pepsi hired him. This is too hot, isn't it? Can you turn down the volume a little bit on my mic, Joe? Thank you so much. Okay, good, good. All right, thank you. So, Pepsi hired him in the 1980s because they were going to create a diet Pepsi. And they wanted to sweeten it with aspartame. And they didn't know what was the right amount of aspartame. And it had to be between, I don't know what kind of units they used, but between 8 and 12. 8 wasn't sweet enough, 12 was way too sweet. So where is the sweet spot? So Moskowitz got to work, and he did what any food scientist would do. He created a bunch of different samples, you know, with 8, 8.1, 8.2, all the way to 12. And then he brought in people, and they started tasting the samples, and then he collected all the data. And then when he had all the data, he got to analyzing the data. And the data was everywhere. He could not make sense of it. And it just ate him alive. Like, why can't he make sense of it? This is what science tells you to do. These are the steps you need to follow. And he cannot make sense of it. So he couldn't give Pepsi a definitive answer. And after that, he really struggled getting hired, because this was a big research program that he failed. And he struggled, and he constantly thought about it, and could not come up with an answer. And then a few years later, he is in a place, and it just dawns on him. There is no right Pepsi. There is right Pepsis. Because all taste buds don't agree with everything. They need their own specially tailored flavor. So he would go to conferences and he would tell the food scientists, there is no right flavor. You don't understand. Stop looking for the one, they call it platonic flavor. It doesn't exist. You have to have many flavors. And they thought he was crazy. And he had a hard time getting hired. Well, it so happened that Prego, the pizza sauce, they had a problem. There was Ragu, the competition. Prego was better, they said, but Ragu sold better. And they ended up hiring Moskowitz to figure out and create the right pizza or spaghetti sauce. And he said, there is no right spaghetti sauce. There is right spaghetti sauces. So what he did, he went to Prego, got together with their scientists, and created like 60 different flavors. And some of them were smooth, and some of them were chunky, and some of them were spicy, and some of them had more garlic, and some of them were more bland. And he brought in people who had to taste, every person had to have 10 small servings of sauces. And then he collected the data. And this is what he learned. Indeed, people are grouped in 3 different categories. One is smooth and kind of bland. A little garlic, little salt, nice smooth tomato, not a whole lot to it. And there are the ones who like the chunky sauce. No one ever thought of making a chunky spaghetti sauce up to that point. But it turns out that a good 30% of people were always left out, the ones who like the chunky sauces. And then the next group was the people who liked it spicy. Spicy. So now, within these categories, you could create even more flavors. And he called this horizontal segmentation. One isn't better than the other. It's just, different. It just pleases another taste bud. There's no hierarchical goodness here to be found. It's horizontal segmentation. And sure enough, this completely changed the business model of the Prego spaghetti sauce. And in the next 10 years, they profited $600 million just off the chunky sauce that no one had ever considered creating before. Horizontal segmentation. He also said, stop looking for the one platonic flavor. It's like when you go to a very fancy restaurant, right? And then they bring you, I don't know, halibut. And the chef creates it a certain way. And then the reason it's created that way because that chef believes that's the best way to create halibut. But everybody does not order halibut for that reason. Because everybody doesn't think that's the only best way. It agrees with some taste buds and not with others. You've been to a fancy restaurant where you said, I wish I would have ordered your meal. Yeah? Because that's what pleases you. So horizontal segmentation. And I think, when I read about this, I thought, wow, this is amazing because this metaphor fits so well to all other aspects of life. For instance, I think it fits very well to our search for spiritual fulfillment, right? So, and what is really the problem with the world today? I think the problem with the world is that we have vertical segmentation. We just say, this is the one sauce, and take it or leave it. And if you don't take it, there is something morally repulsive about you. There is something terribly wrong with you if you don't like this particular sauce. And so the political climate is much like that. There is no more conversation, no more dialogue. There is just shouting at each other and wronging each other. So we are compelled to make these moralistic judgments and divide the world between them and us. And if you are for me, you're okay. If you're not for me, you are definitely against me. And so we are creating a vertical segmentation, when in fact we are hardwired for horizontal segmentation. So everything is breaking down. And it's also true for so many religious institutions who also offer their one specific sauce, and they say, take it or leave it. And by the way, if you don't take it, guess where you're going? You're going to hell. And that's not who we are. That doesn't necessarily resonate with all of us. We are hardwired for horizontal segmentation. So, here, we have horizontal segmentation. Here we say, we don't even have a dogma because, well, that would separate us, right? If I say I believe in this and this is the only truth, about 25% of us would agree with that, the other 75% would be left out. So we say, no dogma here. Here we say, come, bring your own special flavors. Let's go to the kitchen and let's cook together. And let's see what new flavor we come up with. Bring your truth. Bring your yearning. Bring your special path, the way you relationship with the transcendent, with the mystical. You may call it God, you may call it spirit, you may call it love, ground of creation, or maybe nothing. And bring that, and then add it to this path that we're already creating. And then together, we find our way. And it's not because there's a certain teaching that tells us to do that. It's because the covenant that we have created with one another compels us to listen to one another, compels us to be compassionate and kind. And our theology doesn't live only in the confines of these walls. Here we walk the talk, out there we walk. Here we talk the talk, out there we walk it. We go to school board meetings. We write letters to our representatives. We open our pockets and support causes that we believe in. We go to marches. We go to town hall meetings. We do everything we can to walk the talk. Here, we prepare. And here we prepare in ways that are different for all of us. Some of us are ministered to by meditation. Some of us are fed by inspiring intellectual talks. Some of us are fed by more spiritual talks. Some of us are fed by service. Some of us are, all of us are fed in different ways. So let me tell you why that is important. That there is, maybe in English too, but in Hungarian, there is the saying, you can't begin feeding a horse at the bottom of the hill or of the mountain. You have to feed it long before you get to the mountain, and then the horse can climb. But you can't starve it and then feed it at the bottom and make it climb. So why is this important? And I can tell you the example from my own life. You know, I have this pesky CSF leak that keeps returning. And so I've been struggling with this now. This is 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. And actually 5+. And I'm leaking again, as you know. Some of you know, some of you don't. I never got depressed. I never got down. It never beat me emotionally or spiritually, even though it's a very difficult way to live. And I have contemplated upon that, and I realized the only reason that didn't happen because I devoted my life to working on myself. I fed this horse for many decades before I got to the bottom of this mountain that is so hard to climb. And because of it, I never got depressed. I never got discouraged. I just put one foot in front of the other. I don't create stories about how horrible this is, poor me, none of that. I just keep going. And that is the laboratory here. We do the same thing. So when we are faced with insurmountable, catastrophic events, may it be political, global, personal, we can take it. We can climb that mountain. And then we climb it together. Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book about David and Goliath. And he just reframed strength versus weakness in a way that really spoke to me. So he said that Goliath, who was so big and so strong and so unbeatable, his very strength was also his liability. And David, who was tiny but smart, he was the weak, he was the underdog. So he was very tiny, but he thought, and the equalizer, the great equalizer between the two of them was the slingshot, the sling. That's how he took out Goliath. So a strength can be a liability, a weakness can be a strength. And in this community, we do not offer you a magical slingshot. That we do not have. But what we offer, I think, is even better, is many Davids. Many, many Davids. We come together as Davids as we face insurmountable problems. Well, look, the political climate is catastrophic today. We're facing global warming, the ever-increasing threat of fascism, this othering of each other. The thing that keeps a nation together, that makes the life of a nation possible, is a unifying story. If there is no unifying story, the nation cannot survive. And notice the story that is being fed to this nation is anything but unifying. Anything but unifying. So the breakdown of this incredible nation is at risk today because of the story that is being fed from up above. So here, we come together as Davids, and we bring our slingshots, and we bring our stones, and we strengthen each other. And then when we fall, we pick each other up. And then we figure out strategies and ways to deal with whatever life brings to us. And how? Where do we inspire from? Where do we inspire from? Well, we have the experienced, the direct experience of the mystical, of the transcendent, whom, like I said, we might call God or love or ground of being, or, well, you know what's alive in you. You know what you call it. We also inspire from prophetic teachers who have gone before us or who are still among us, who speak with the clarity and the wisdom that resonates with us and that helps us clarify our own thoughts and helps us identify ways of living that honor our need for belonging. Need for belonging. We also inspire from all the religions of the world. Why wouldn't we? We take that which works, we leave behind that which doesn't. And then we inspire from humanist teachings, the ones that elevate the importance of reason and scientific results. We honor all of that. And even though we inspire from here, we don't say that this is what you must believe in. We just say this is where you might start looking. We do not tell you this is how it has to be. Just because we have principles and values, we don't say you have to prescribe to them. We just say you might give them a try. You might want to try them on for size and see. And if what fits, wear it. What doesn't, leave it. Many sauces in here. So if you are the kind of person who, when asked about the big questions, the biggest questions in life, and your answer begins, well, on the one hand, this might be your place. If you are the kind of person who thinks a lot, who ponders a lot, this might be your place. If you are the kind of person who believes that belonging ought to be generous and not conditional, this might be your home. We are people who think a lot. We think hard because we believe that we can transform the world when we apply our best thinking with our most loving. And that hope we hold on together to as a collective. In here, we talk the talk. Out there, we walk it. So welcome, hopefully home. And so it is.